Hello, everyone. We're here today at Community Newspapers, the happiest place on earth. And I'm happy because we're going to be talking to Hannah Runge from the Department of Animal Services. Good morning,
Good
Hannah.
morning.
How are you today?
I'm well. Thank you for having me.
I got to say, your smile is always a welcome situation, especially at Community News, because we have so many shows and we have more coming, which is fantastic. So today we're going to talk about a few things, but first I'd like to get to know Hannah a little better, let you know her because she's a great person. Tell me a little about how you got into animals.
Absolutely. So I am a homegrown Indiana gal, small town Indiana Hoosier. So I grew up just in a small town, taking care of all kinds of dogs, primarily. But when I visited my grandparents in very small town Indiana, I was known to bring in a critter or two. So whether it was a neonate kitten that we found somewhere on the property or a small cottontail, perhaps a squirrel, even a bird or two, I was bringing it in to help it out. And I very quickly, grew up in a very supportive household and was very blessed to have volunteer opportunities with my local vet. And that just kind of kept me in the field. So I really enjoyed wildlife rehab. I did a lot of neonate bottle feeding experience, again, with those little orphan critters that you'll find in your backyard. But that definitely set me up to join the foster program here at Miami-Dade Animal Services because we have a lot of neonate puppies and kittens that need to be bottle fed as well.
Wow. How does an animal find themselves in that situation? Is it that it's part of a big litter and there's one that gets loose, or how is it that these small babies are getting into where you guys are at?
Yeah, animals can come to us from all different backgrounds. So whether it's a family that finds a litter of kittens in their backyard and say they have a dog, that's not a great environment to keep them safe. So they may scoop them up and they may bring them here to the shelter. If the mother is with them, we would highly encourage that mother to continue taking care of her litter because that's going to be the best thing for them. She has all the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that they need to be able to thrive in infancy. But if those little ones were separated from mom, sometimes that happens. Mom is really good at finding safe spots to tuck her babies, whether it's a domestic animal like a dog or a cat, or even a wildlife animal. Chances are, if you find a baby animal and it's alone, that mom has put it there for a very particular reason because she thinks that environment is safe.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So a lot of times when humans find, say, a solo group of kittens, we like to call it kidnapping. You've actually taken those kittens from their mom in most cases.
Right.
So we would encourage families to monitor those animals to make sure that mom is still around and taking care of them. That way you can stay sure that they're, stay united. That way they have the best success.
Yeah, it's interesting because I was talking to you and one of your colleagues about stray dogs.
Yeah.
And that sometimes these dogs are actually part of a family, but in certain parts of our community, the parents let these dogs out basically, and maybe they don't have a tag or something. Can you talk a little about that? What are people supposed to do if they see a stray dog?
That's another very important question. So families come with all different cultural backgrounds and they treat their pets differently. So in my home, my dog goes out on a collar and a leash. But when I lived in Indiana, we had a fenced-in yard and I could just let my dog roam in the yard. And so down here, you're also dealing with different backgrounds that treat their pets differently. Some families place collars on their pets, and some families do the extra due diligence to microchip their pet as well. Some families don't have any of the above identification on their pet. So if they're letting their pet out in their yard to do their diligence, that pet may be responsible and actually just taking a short little field trip to take care of business, and they may have full intentions of coming back home. So it's very important to take a look at the pet and kind of monitor what their behavior is. Do they seem to be skittish? Do they seem to be aggressive? Are they looking for food? Or do they seem to be well fed? Take a look at their coat, their fur. Do they look to be healthy? Or do you have some skin conditions going on that may make it seem like this animal hasn't been cared for in a while? So again, if you take a moment and just observe the animal and kind of figure out where it's going, what its behavior is telling you, you may find that that pet may lead you right back to their family.
Wow. Well, today I wanted to talk about a couple of things because I really don't know too much about animal services, only the experiences where I've seen some loose animal over the years and thought, wow, is there an issue here? So tell me a little about how the foster program works, because to me, this is one of the most interesting and probably you know, opportunistic situations for local people who may not have the time full time to care for an animal, but want to have some kind of connection and contribute. How does that work?
You bet. Yeah, fostering is a great way to get involved with your local shelter, to get involved with determining if you want to be a pet owner even. It's a great way to dip your toes into the system and kind of figure out if it's the right activity for you. So we have a lot of different fostering opportunities. Our minimum fostering commitment would be for 2 weeks. So just like you said, if somebody doesn't have the full-time ability to be able to help out with a pet, but they want to just be able to enrich their lives for a little bit, those short-term fosters are definitely the folks that we're looking for. But our longer foster commitments could even be up to 3 months. Just as long as you're encouraging the pet to continue developing behaviors and they're learning how to be a healthy pet in a household, they're coming to our adoption events, they're being advertised and marketed as a foster pet, they're up for adoption, looking to find their forever family. We're always looking for more fosters to join our programming. So like I mentioned, we have cat foster options, we have dog foster options, whatever your critter desire may be, we have availability for you. So we encourage you to check us out online first. That way we can get an application for you. So call 311, go online to 311, fill out an application. We just ask some brief questions about each family. That way we can get to know you a little better to set both you and the pet up for success. So we just like to know if you have any other pets in the home. If you may be an experienced pet owner, that's very important for us to know too, because we're always looking for particular bottle feeding options as well as medical and behavioral options for our pets as well. So if you're really good with, let's say you're really great at potty training puppies, give us a call. We need your help. Not everybody has the patience for a pup.
I'm telling you. It's
a full-time job in itself.
It's a full-time job. It can be.
It can be.
But I think also people get intimidated by the idea that they're going to bring this animal in, and it's, if there's an issue where the animal is, having a medical or is peeing everywhere. Like sometimes animals will, when the parent leaves the house, will destroy the house.
Yeah, have some separation anxiety.
Right. So that's
we also send you with all the supplies that you need to make sure that you're set up for success.
Right.
So for our families that are taking dogs home, we make sure that you are set up with a crate, a bed.
What is a crate? What does that mean?
That's a great question. A crate is just a small enclosure that is a safe spot to keep your pet during the day or just for breaks.
Right.
Perhaps it's a safe spot that they feel comfortable going to just when they need rest. So I have a crate for my 8-year-old beagle. She certainly doesn't need it for any behavioral reasons.
Right.
But say I want to trim her nails and she says, no, thank you. I don't feel like doing that right now.
Right.
She'll go into her crate. And that's her way of communicating with me that she needs some time to herself and she's not ready to participate in that activity.
Wow.
So it's a way for humans and animals to communicate. It's a way for them to be able to set up for success.
Right.
If they need a break, like you said, behaviorally, say they're just a little bit overstimulated and they need to calm down a little bit.
Yeah.
We can provide them with some enrichment, which is a fancy word for toys.
Yeah. I like that better. Toy, it sounds fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
So enrichment really encourages productive behaviors. So you're mentally and emotionally and physically stimulating that animal. That way they may not be running zoomies around the yard, but they're going to be cognitively enriched so that they have the same energy dispersal. But they may just be doing a small, quiet little sniff session in their crate.
Right.
Or you're giving them a Kong filled with peanut butter and a frozen meal.
Right.
Another great way to slow down an animal and encourage them to, choose productive behaviors.
Right. And what about, does a foster parent get food and all the shots and all that included, or how does that work?
Absolutely, yeah. So particularly for our neonates, so they're going to need those booster vaccines every few weeks. And when they first come into our shelter, they may not even be large enough to receive all of the care that they need. Say they're so small, they're less than a pound. We give them what they need to be healthy in a foster home, and then in a few weeks when they're large enough, that foster will bring them back to the shelter. They're able to proceed directly to our wellness clinic and able to get that animal the next round of vaccines that it needs and anything else that it needs as well at that time.
Wow.
So if any animal is, say they go on foster homes and they're sick and they need additional care, just spur of the moment, those foster families are able to come in and they're able to be seen with those pets. They don't have to go to a private veterinarian. They don't have to pay any cost. Everything is through Miami-Dade Animal Services, free of charge.
Wow. What about, what is the biggest surprise for foster parents when they're taking care of an animal? Is it, I mean, is there something that you hear back that is useful, or that they find they want to keep the animal when they thought maybe it was going to be 2 months or whatever? What are the surprises that you're finding?
Yeah, we have a lot of families that do reach out because they fall in love with the animal and they want to, make sure that it goes to the next best option. So in that case, we encourage folks to come to the adoption events that these animals are being fostered for. So first, say we have an event this weekend and we have puppies coming back from foster. Those puppies are going to be at the event this weekend. So if that family fostered that puppy, we would highly encourage them to come back, bring all their friends. That way they can see the other animals that we do have for adoption.
Right.
But they would be able to adopt that pet as well.
Really?
If they do fall in love, we understand. I foster failed myself, my first foster.
Oh.
Yeah, it happens. Sometimes you fall in love and that animal's just meant to be and meant to stay with your family. So if that's the case, we do everything that we can to work with the families on an individual basis to make sure that everybody is set up for success.
Right. Now, I'm curious about something. Is there a situation where a family might say, listen, we're going through a tough time right now, I have to have surgery or something, and then it's a temporary placement of the animal with the shelter? Does that ever happen?
As far as temporary fosters, I think there are other organizations that would be able to help a little more personally. So I know there are smaller rescue groups that would be able to connect with owners on a more individual basis.
Right.
If an individual comes through Miami-Dade Animal Services, if the pet is placed up for adoption, it would be available for adoption immediately if that owner were to surrender it. It wouldn't be available necessarily for foster for a temporary period. I know that would be a wonderful opportunity for families to have, because it does happen where sometimes you just need temporary assistance for your pet.
Right.
And we want to make sure that every family is set up for success. So we do have owner retention services available. It is another service within Miami-Dade Animal Services that would be able to work with those families to assist them with whatever they need to make sure that that pet is successful with their family long term.
Wow. So I'm curious about this other amazing program you guys have going on, Paw Venture.
Paw Venture, yeah.
Tell me about that program.
It's an incredible initiative that we have here at Miami-Dade Animal Services. And it gives our dogs in particular an opportunity to leave the shelter for an afternoon to go on field trips and adventures with different citizens of Miami-Dade County, or even families that are coming to visit Miami on vacation, which is really cool.
Wow.
So you're just here temporarily, you're staying at a hotel, but you want to take a pop out, come on over. We have activities for you.
Yes.
So we have dogs that have great behavioral notes. They're wonderful on leash. They're great with other dogs. They're wonderful with families, particularly children. And so families are able to come. They're able to check out these pups. They're able to read their personalities, learn a little bit more about them. And essentially, it's like checking a dog out of the shelter for a day. You can take it on whatever adventures you want. We do have some suggestions of local parks, local restaurants that are dog friendly, different areas in the Miami-Dade area, in the Miami-Dade County, that you can get to know local businesses that are pet friendly.
Right.
But say you just want to take a pup out of the shelter and give it a break on your couch at home.
Yes.
That's okay too. We have plenty of pups that just want to be couch potatoes, and they would love to be loved by you.
So let's say that you want to go to Paris. Does a dog need a passport to be able to fly?
Passport to Paris. Would that be a passport?
Yes, a passport. I mean, this could be a big thing. I think I've come across a great idea.
Passport to adventure. I think we're onto something.
Yes.
We do request that our animals stay within the Tri-County area, preferably Miami-Dade County if they're out on Paw Ventures, just so that we can ensure our animals are back to the shelter by the afternoon.
Right.
So you're only able to check them out during the weekdays from the hours of 10 to 12 a.m. And then on the weekends, we encourage you to come between 9 and 10 a.m.
Okay.
But we want to schedule an appointment through 311. So go online, call, schedule an appointment.
Yes.
That way we can have you on our calendar to come and pick up a pup.
Right. So the minimum amount of time that they would take the animal for one trip is what, 3 hours you said?
Yeah, for a Paw Venture, we just require that you're back at the shelter by 3 o'clock.
Okay. And then the idea is you can walk them, get to know them. Now I'm curious about, like, if it's a dog, you take them to the dog park. Sometimes that can be an unusual experience because maybe the animal is aggressive, not aggressive because
That's
it's a bad animal. But
I'm so glad you asked this question.
yeah,
So, as popular as dog parks are, they sometimes can be a very dangerous place to go, even
yeah,
with your own personal pet.
yes,
And it's not always that your pet is the dangerous one, it's always the unpredictability of the other pets and the
right.
nature of the other pet owners.
Hmm.
So, you just want to make sure that you set yourself up for success, particularly with our pet on Paw Venture. So, we actually require that all these pets stay on leash unless they're in a personal fenced in backyard.
Hmm.
So we kindly request that you don't take animals out to dog parks because that would be an off-leash situation where you're encountering other animals.
Hmm.
Again, with unpredictable behavior, we just want to make sure that all these animals do stay safe. So while the pets that we have for our Paw Venture program are kindly social, particularly with each other, we just want to make sure that other animals of the community are also friendly and so that everybody stays safe.
I'm curious about cats. Most cats do not work with leashes, even though I've seen some people with cats that are leashed. How do people deal with those trips and cats? They take them home generally? Is that the idea?
So right now, cats are not eligible for Paw Ventures. That's a really great question.
Okay.
In the future, we would love to be able to offer slumber party or sleepover opportunities.
Yeah.
So stay tuned in the future with Miami-Dade Animal Services.
Yeah,
But right now, it's only our dogs that are available for Paw Ventures.
got it.
Yep.
Now, the age of the animals, help me understand the range of age for the animals that go on Paw Ventures.
That's a really great question. Our animals could be younger. We have younger dogs as young as 1 year old. We find that typically any animal that's younger than that period goes out of the shelter very quickly. They're very eligible for adoption. Families always want puppies in their home. So these animals typically do not go on Paw Ventures because it's better and for their best interest to actually stay at the shelter on the adoption floor so that families can see them and take them home same day.
Yeah. Now, corporations are trying to figure out a lot of different ways to get their employees back to the office and to make them happy. And they put in, billiard tables and, whatever, all kinds of different things, ping pong. Do you find that companies are considering having, not only allowing their employees to bring their animals, but also having some as sort of like mascots? Are you hearing about that at all?
Yeah, I feel like absolutely there's more companies that are coming out with their own mascots. I know there's a cruise line that has their own mascot. There's all sorts of baseball teams that have their own, stadium pups as well. So it's really great for folks to get involved in their community, and it puts a spotlight on the local shelters as well.
Yeah. I know Marlins have all kinds of days
Yeah,
where,
Bark at the Park. It's a
yes,
really great
tell me about
initiative.
Bark at the Park. That sounds fun because the Marlins right now are playing. So
Yeah,
tell me about that.
absolutely. So the Marlins do have pup-friendly games where individuals can buy dog-friendly tickets and bring their pet to a game.
Wow.
They have sectioned areas of the stadium that are pet-friendly, so you're only able to be seated in those areas. But generally, a portion of the proceeds for those games do go towards a rescue. So I know Miami-Dade Animal Services attended an event last year. There are different smaller rescue groups that may be the recipients of these baseball game proceeds. I know South Florida Beagle Rescue was a recipient of the final game last fall. I do fosters through them, so they have a special spot in my heart.
So can I take my Paw Venture dog to a Marlins game? Can I do that?
That's a great question. I would say that may not be the best opportunity to
No.
take a Paw Venture pup, but it may be a great opportunity for us to officially partner with the Marlins on events in the future.
I like it.
So stay tuned. Who knows what the Miami Heat, the Panthers
Miami
have?
Heat.
We may have a Stanley Pup coming up in the future.
Stanley
Who
Pup. I
knows?
like it. I like it. Stanley Pup. I think that was intentional. So I'm glad to say to all of you that we should all participate in these programs. A Paw Venture sounds fascinating. And I have a deep love of dogs, even though I was a cat person for a long time. But I'm thinking about going down there next week and seeing if I can start taking some of these dogs on some adventures. I'm sure they would benefit greatly. And in the end, it's all about community. Make sure that if you do see an animal on the street, that you check out where they're coming from, what they look like, etc. Because I would be very upset if, I had this dog and suddenly it disappeared and you have no idea where it came, where it went. And we have a lot of resources here that are available to us. And all you got to do is pick up the phone. It's 311. Is that what you were saying?
Yep. It's got a lot of amazing resources for you. Anybody can help you out.
Yeah. And make sure to check out the website. What's the website for Animal Services?
Yeah, if you check us out on miamidade.gov, and then again, you can also search 311, and that'll pop you up for a bunch of different registrations all within the Miami-Dade County, but you can also check out an animal through those listings as well. It's one of the subheadings.
Incredible. And the best part is they take care of everything. The shots, the food. I mean, how much better can it be?
Yep, particularly as families with children are home for the summer, we highly encourage you to stop by, encourage fostering for the summer. We do offer community service hours for students. So families that are looking to have their students stay responsible and engaged throughout the summer, we are here to provide a little bit of structure for you.
Wow. Community service hours. Everyone's looking for that during the summer. So make sure you talk to your child and say, hey, how can we do this? You know, I mean, can you imagine a better community service than trying to help some of these pets find a home, whether it's temporarily or long term? And the goal is to socialize them so that they can go into a home and everyone's happy and the animal is a contributing member of the family. So
kittens, cats, large dogs, we've got animals for you.
Fantastic. So thank you for coming today.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Yes. And enjoy your weekend, and hopefully we'll talk soon.
I look forward to it.
Cool.
Can't wait to see you for a Paw Venture.
That's right. See you guys.